They say the Borderlands have no history, no records, no names carved into stone, no founding myth, no imperial year count, no ancestor spirit who first struck the ground and declared asterisk here. Asterisk. But what they meant, Kaito thought, was only that no one had bothered to write it down yet. Before dawn, the world was dark blue and breathing. Mist clung low between the grasses. Not fog, but something thinner, something that moved as if alive. The mountains to the north were a jagged black silhouette, a thought at the edge of the sky. A single bird called once, and silence swallowed it whole. The earth came first, before anything else. Dark soil, still wet from the night's rain, black and deep and extraordinarily alive, a worm surfacing, moving, vanishing again. And there, crouched at the edge of what had been a fire pit, still dressed in his sleeping kimono with the collar undone, sat Kaito. He stared at the ground with the focused, empty expression of a man who had slept badly and was using the earth as something to look at while his mind caught up to his body. His hands were dirty, soil packed under his fingernails. He did not notice. Their camp was not yet a camp. It was only a suggestion of one, a lean-to built against an old cedar, a fire pit ringed with river stones, a single iron pot, 2 bedrolls with one arranged slightly better than the other. Saya emerged from the lean-to, pulling her dark hair back with a length of cord, moving with the efficiency of someone who had packed and unpacked more times than she could count. She looked at Kaito, who hadn't moved. "You were supposed to wake me at second bell," she said. "There was no bell," he answered without looking up. "That was a figure of speech." "I know, look at this." He pressed 2 fingers into the soil beside the fire pit and lifted them, the dirt clinging, rich and heavy and real. "I grew up on imperial stone. Courtyard tiles, swept gravel paths. I don't think I've ever, I've touched earth before, obviously, but I don't think I've ever felt it," she said flatly. "Yeah." She looked at his dirt-covered fingers with an expression somewhere between contempt and sympathy, then crouched and began to rebuild the morning fire. 3 strokes, not 5. "My grandfather used to say you could tell a person's worth by whether they respected the soil or only the harvest." "What did he mean?" "I was 8. I didn't ask." The fire caught, and she did not elaborate. The river along the eastern edge of their ground ran narrow but fast, clear over gray stones, cold enough that mist rose from it even in daylight. Kenji the merchant was already there, washing his face with the theatrical suffering of a man cheated by the morning, his enormous patched pack leaning against a willow root. "You're building on the wrong bank," he said without turning. Kaito arrived, surprised. "How did you know I was—" "You walk like someone who's never had to be quiet. Don't worry, it's endearing." He turned, splashing water from his face, and looked upstream with the eye of a man who calculated value in things others overlooked. "North Bank. See how the ground rises just slightly, 6, maybe 8 feet higher than you're sitting now. Come spring flood, and their asterisk will asterisk be 1. This river's wide upstream. The south bank goes under." Kaito looked back toward camp, and his jaw tightened. His hand opened and closed once at his side. "We've already broken ground there." "Then you'll have a very educational spring," Kenji said cheerfully. The river talked over the silence. "How do you know this land so well?" Kaito asked. "I've been walking it for 11 years. After my city burned, you have to go somewhere. I chose somewhere no one else had claimed. Less competition." He shouldered his pack with a grunt. They walked together through grass that came to Kaito's chest, the sun high and white, insects singing over a smell of green things and something older beneath. Wet stone turned earth. Time. Kenji knew things, the particular knowledge that came not from books, but from moving through a world and surviving it. He knew which grasses meant fresh water was near, which pale, bitter bark could be boiled against fever, and that the northern road carved into the mountains had been there longer than anyone's grandfather could remember. He said that last part carefully, the way a man mentions something he isn't sure he should. "The stone on that road is different from the local rock. Cut differently. Whoever made it was methodical, patient." "The demons," Kaito said. Kenji paused but did not deny it. "People call them that." "What do you call them?" He looked north where the mountains rose above the grass line. "Neighbors I haven't met yet." Kaito followed his gaze. The road was invisible from here, but knowing it existed made the mountains feel different, less like a wall, more like a door. He kept the thought to himself, though his face held it a moment before he looked away. The north bank was everything Kenji had promised, and harder to reach. They spent 2 hours hacking through stubborn wild bamboo that fought back. By the time they emerged, Saya's forearms were scratched and Kaito had lost a sandal strap, limping the last 20 paces, but at the top of the rise, the land opened. Flat, south-facing, sheltered by a natural ridge of old stone, the planet's own spine pushing through, and near the ridge, in a shallow hollow barely bigger than a cooking pot, a hot spring surfaced, steam curling from it. Saya stopped walking. She looked at it the way people look at things they didn't know they needed until they found them. "There it is," she said quietly. "The spring? The reason to stay." Neither of them moved. Kaito didn't fully understand then what she meant. A spring was useful. Warm water, mineral-rich soil, never frozen in winter, practical reasons. But she wasn't looking at it practically. She was looking at it the way survivors look at safety when they've forgotten what safety felt like. Later, the three of them sat on the rise as the sun began its descent. From his impossible pack, Kenji produced a clay flask of cold barley tea and 3 chipped cups, distributing them without ceremony. "You'll need more hands than 3, he said. "I know. There's a woman, Mama-san they call her, runs what used to be a way station 2 days east. 15, maybe 20 people, mostly wanderers who stopped moving when they got too tired to keep going." He sipped. "She's not going to follow a boy." "I'm not asking anyone to follow me," Kaito said. "No? I'm asking if they want somewhere to be. Asterisk." The fire popped once. Kenji looked at him a long moment with the assessing gaze he gave terrain and trade goods, and then something shifted. Not impressed exactly, but interested, as if he'd revised a calculation. "Does he always talk like that?" he asked Saya. "Unfortunately," she said dryly. At dusk they began moving things. No ceremony, only the heavy, honest work of carrying. The iron pot, the bedrolls, the river stones brought one by one because Kaito could not bring himself to leave useful things behind. On his 3rd trip back, he stopped. The old camp looked small now. A cleared patch, a fire ring, the impression of 2 bodies in the grass. 2 days of effort, already being reclaimed, grass blades straightening, soil resettling. He crouched, picked up one last stone, held it, set it down, and left it. There was a thing that happened, he thought, when you made a mistake and corrected it. You expected only relief, but there was something else too. Grief for the version of you that hadn't known better, for the work that wouldn't count. He left that stone, and didn't quite know why. A marker, maybe. A record that someone had been here, tried something, learned something. The land would absorb it anyway. He thought that was all right. The new fire burned at the base of the ridge, warmer there, sheltered from the rising northern wind. The hot spring murmured a few feet away, its steam catching firelight, its smell mineral and clean, faintly sulphurous, like the earth breathing out. Saya sat awake, watching the mountains. Kaito sat beside her, present and watching nothing, their shoulders close but not touching. Kenji was already asleep, snoring with professional commitment. "Do you think about home?" Saya asked. The question snagged on something true. "I think about my father, whether he's gotten back yet, whether Yuriko has already covered the tracks, whether he's looking." "And if he isn't?" Kaito looked down at his hands, the dirty nails, the blisters forming, the hands of someone doing new work. "Then I need this place to be real enough that when he does, when I can show him—" He stopped and started again. "I need to build something true." The fire crackled into a long silence. Saya reached over and set a small piece of wood on the coals, not because it needed it, but because she needed something to do with her hands. "My clan's name was Kasugawa," she said quietly. "I haven't said that to anyone in a year. No one to say it *to. Asterisk." She did not look at him, only at the mountains where the dark had swallowed everything but the suggestion of peaks. "Kasugawa," Kaito repeated carefully. She said nothing, but her shoulders settled, fractionally, like something had finally been set down. Far away, so far it should have been invisible. Something moved on the carved road descending through the mountain pass. Not a threat. Not yet anything at all. A single lantern, carried by a figure in a deep indigo traveling cloak, its light the wrong color, not flame orange but the cool blue of winter stars. The figure paused where stone met soil, set the lantern down and seemed to look south, toward the faint glow of a new fire on a northern riverbank. Then it lifted the lantern again, continued north, and was swallowed by the mountain dark. The Borderlands had no history, Kaito thought, but the land to the north did. He simply didn't know it yet. The steam rose into the dark, and the fire stayed a small orange warmth at the base of the ridge. 2 people sitting within it, not speaking, learning the sound of where they were.